It's getting pretty late in the day, but I decided to get started on another project. This is going to be a multiple video series or a mini series. I will create a playlist. Basically, we are going to redo this entire deck that I'm standing on. We are going to replace the rim joist underneath of this part of the house right here, potentially down the side. I'm not sure yet because I have to get the decking off. I am also going to redo some of this deck. There's some obvious sagging and issues going on here that need to be taken care of. So it's going to be more than one video. But what we're going to do in this video is get this accessible so that we can get at the rim joist that needs to be replaced. Hi everybody, I'm Jim Dierdorf and this is Detroit DIY. Let's get a closer look at what's going on. I have a few of the deck boards off and I'm going to peel off this entire section all the way over. It is 12 feet across by 24 feet long, so I will be removing all of this. This railing is going to go. Some of this railing is not coming back. It's not even needed. You can just step right out to the grass. This is the only section that still needs railing, so that will get completely replaced with potentially wood. I'm not sure exactly what I'll do there, but we'll get that tidied up also. So what we have right here is they left the old stairs in place and they cut everything down around it. Absolutely what you don't want to do. And they cut the joist down to about 2.5 inches or 2 inches, those three, and that just creates a very weak point right here where the first step goes down by them leaving them here. So I'm going to have to chip this out of the way, bust it out with a sledgehammer, chip it out. I got to make these stairs go away. Then I'm going to remove all of these deck joists all the way across to this one right here, so that I can remove this rim joist off of the deck and replace it, because this is no good how they've notched it out to fit over the steps. Then I need to get back into there once everything is open and replace all that rotten wood. It goes all the way along the whole span here. This is a 13-foot span and all of that is rotten and needs to be replaced. The siding is in pretty bad shape also. Some of the trim around the windows. We need to do a lot of stuff here, but obviously we need to fix the bones first. So that is what this video is going to be about, is just getting to that and hopefully getting that out and getting it fixed without making a super long video. So I am replacing the trucks that is here. So I'm just using my pry bar and a hammer because it has an older style hidden fastener where they're screwed from underneath. Very difficult to get to. There's not enough room to get under there to take them out. So I am just kind of ripping them out, and I'm going to go ahead and get all this ripped off and get these joists out of here. A lot of these I want to try and reuse, so I'm just going to cut fasteners and whatever it takes to get these out without destroying them, the ones that I'm not going to replace. I'm going to tear off some more deck boards and then we'll take a look. I'm making progress. I've got all the railing right now tore off that I need tore off. This one was in a bad way anyhow. I've got a lot of the decking off. I still have some more to go. I've identified all my issues. I've went and picked up my lumber. Got it stacked right outside here. So everything's moving along pretty good. These deck boards are a little bit of a fight, but it's not too awful bad. I'm going to show you how I'm popping these things up. I've got my helper here. He doesn't like it when the boards pop up all of a sudden. I'm just coming under them like this. They're screwed through these straps into the bottoms of the boards. And just popping the screws out. So I am not reusing these ducking boards. They're getting replaced with wood. So, however, my wife had a good idea and we want to extend our dock, and this might be the ticket. I'm going to keep going, ripping these out. We'll come back and take a look when I get it all done. I may saw some of this stuff out over this front porch that I showed you earlier and start working that porch over, because I'm going to bust that thing out of there. I've got 3 of the joists out, 3 that were the garbage ones that are getting thrown away, and 1 that we'll be reusing that was spanning right next to the stairs. The stairs are now obviously in my way, and you can kind of see what it is here I'm trying to get to replace. So we still have a long ways to go. We're managing to, we tried one technique here that kind of ripped the board up a little bit. Brett was able to get these nails out, so this one will come out much easier. We have to take that one and those 3 there. So we're going to keep working at it, and we got to gain access to this mess right here. So this is where we're at right now. We are almost, we're close, we're getting close to getting to the actual meat of this video, replacing that rim joist. But it's just taken a long time to get there. You're looking at 2.5 days worth of work at this point in time. So, but we'll get there in, I don't know, a couple more hours. We should have enough of them steps knocked out of the way to go ahead and be able to get in there and work. We have this side of the house opened up. What we've done is cut off some of the deck boards and pulled out 1 deck joist to expose this. And we've already got some new 2x4s scabbed into the sides of these. The very bottoms are a little bit rotted, but they're dry. So I'm not going to cut it out. I'm not going to take them out. However, that bottom plate on the wall is a different story. That is going to have to be cut out and replaced. It's going to be a little bit of a job, but we are going to get it in there. And also, obviously, that floor joist is going to need to be replaced. And we'll have to replace this one before we get to the other one. So when we get into the meat of this, what we're going to do is put a 2x8 right underneath that piece of siding and screw it on. And then we're going to support it out here on this side, and we're going to support it back there. And that will hold this wall in place while we tear all of this out and repair it. And this has to be repaired first so that we can get something underneath of here to jack this up a little bit to be able to replace the front side and actually put a foundation underneath of it. So we're going to get that 2x6 on there, or 2x8 on there, and then we'll get into the details of taking this apart. So we're in the process of tearing out this bottom plate, and it is so rotten that it's basically just falling right out of here. It's not giving us much of a fight. The floorboards are also a little bit rotten, but they're good once we get to the inside part of the wall. So we will have to put a double joist here to support the floor, and then we will have to put in a piece of 3/4 inch material to replace the thickness of the floor we're going to cut away here in a little bit. So we are in the process of tearing this out, and because it's so rotten, it's just going pretty easy. So we will get our new piece in here shortly, or get it cut to size and get it ready to go in, and we'll show you all of that. We got our new bottom plate in, and while I was gone returning the jackhammer, Brett cut the flooring back, so there's 3/4 inch of the original flooring underneath of this. And I'm going to go through with these GRK screws with the pan heads or the flat heads, and I'm going to secure that flooring to this 2x4. It's tongue and groove, so even though some of this flooring is pretty bad shape, just so long as we can get the majority of it screwed tight to this 2x4, we're going to be okay. Then we're going to come through with a 1x, which is a 3/4 inch piece of material, and we're going to screw it underneath of here just to give us the equal amount of distance, so that when we put our new 2x8 on, everything will be sitting flush in the way that it should be. I'm going to get these all screwed in, and then we'll come back and take a look when we put these 1x on the bottom here. Got my 1x here. This is a 1x2.5, and I had to trim a little bit off of it to get it to fit under here the way that I wanted it to. And I've got it fitting really nice and flush. I like that. And I'm going to use the GRK 2.5-inch GRK screws to hold this in. Also the same screws that I just used to secure this wood to the floor. That or to this bottom plate. That pulled up very nice, the flooring to the bottom plate that was remaining. So I'm really happy with how that's turned out. And then this right here, there's no concern. We've put these nice new studs in. They're up about 2 feet, so we should be in good shape there. And this is dry, it's not soaked, and when I'm done, there will be no more water getting in here anyway, so there will be nothing to worry about by leaving any of them behind. So it's supported well, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. In fact, this one is, the whole bottom part of it kind of just fell out, so, but it's all right. It's supported well with those sistered on. I'm going to go ahead and get this installed, and then I have to cut another short piece just to finish it out. Then we'll do a little test fitting with our 2x8s. We have this piece right here that runs all the way under the entire center. So I may have to modify this just a little bit at this point in time. That will be coming out, at least getting a modified version of it of some sort when the foundation comes in. But that'll be after this side is complete and we fix the front. It is a new day, and we are ready to get going on this project again. However, unfortunately, there's no plans for a project like this, and you have to think your way through it. I want to put a foundation underneath of this, and that right there is in my way. What I didn't realize last night, or I did late last night, is that spans across the entire width of this addition. This used to be a front porch, would be my guess, and it was never really intended as a living space because it never got a foundation. It got these cinder blocks. Those are coming out here in a little bit, but I need to move those over or put some new ones in and support that so that it's not in the way of my foundation. So I'm not, this joist that I'm getting ready to put in is going to be sitting on the foundation, so I won't need it to be sitting on that. So I need to climb under there and figure out exactly how I'm going to re-support that before I cut it off and pull all that out of there. That is the next project. I've got a couple of cinder blocks in here, and I've got it resting on this joist right up above. Might have a hard time seeing that on the camera, but now I can cut this right here, and I'll be able to get all that out of the way.
Put it in place?
Yeah, will it fit in there?
Yep. Yep.
So we got our 3 pieces fastened together for our joist on this outside, and we just got it slid into place. We're going to use some 4-inch screws to secure it to the base plate of the wall, and then we will be ready to get some boards under here and get this thing jacked up a little bit and get it where it needs to be. What we're going to do is we're going to get the jack underneath here and push it into place, because as I'm trying to tap it all the way in, it's just trying to bounce back out. So we're going to push it up with a little pressure on it, and then it should tap in okay. Yep. I'm going to be using 4-inch construction screws to hold this to the bottom plate. The nice thing is when it's all said and done, the house will be sitting on this. So basically, if a storm comes, this is going to keep the house from blowing away. gonna finish putting the rest of these screws in, and then we'll be ready to start getting our bracing underneath and get this thing raised up. We've got our supporting beam in. It is a 16-foot beam that runs all the way underneath. We've actually pulled the supports out that they had underneath the front of this, and this is all the deeper they were. They were not below the frost line, so the frost had to be shoving this structure around. When we get done, that will no longer happen. But now we're going to start cutting this out and get all of this wood replaced. We're starting day 5 of this project, and it has been a handful. This was way more damaged than I first thought, and although we're getting close, we just about got it structurally back together. But I need to trim off each one of these joists. We've already trimmed them once, but they're not correct, unfortunately. And the reason for that is because it's just all different sized material. I don't know how where they bought this. It was just, it's bad. This one right here was actually 6 3/4 of an inch. Most of these are 6, and the one on the very end down there was 5 inches. So we're having to trim them all to 6 inches because I don't want to have to put shims and stuff under there once I set this down on the foundation. So I've got a block screwed on this one right here to guide my Sawzall to cut that to the correct length. It used to be a 2-inch piece of material that was in there, and now we're putting in a double stack right here of 1x, so it's going to be 3 inches. So I needed to trim an inch off, but they weren't correct in the first place. So now I just have to get in here and trim them just a little bit more. One of them, this one right here, needs about 3/4 of an inch taken off, but the rest of them just need a little shave. So I'm going to get the Sawzall in there and get all them cut off, and then we will be ready to put this in. I have my rim joist set into place with just a couple of decking screws holding it on there. And I've got my jack right here under the door because there was just a little bow in it, and this part might not be setting super level. There wasn't really anything to run a level off of. We just raised it up high enough to get it off of what it was sitting on. So I need to support the bottom of my door tread, and that 2x4 slides up in there just perfectly. So with the jack under it and it all pushed into place, I've got that located. Now I'm going to pull this back out, secure that properly, and then I'm going to flash it, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And I need to flash that now because there's no way I can properly flash that without removing the door. So I can do it by removing the joist though. We're going to be using window and door sealing tape to flash this out. And it's not going to be perfect because the only way I could make it perfectly flashed is by removing the door, because you should work from the bottom up. So I'm just going to go about 1/4 of an inch onto this, and then when I flash it the rest of the way, I will just come tight up to the bottom of this and cut it around so that it's overlapped the wrong way, but it should still seal nicely. And before, this is where the majority of the rot was right here at the door, and because it was never flashed. So something is going to be way better than nothing, and I'm sure that once I get it all sealed in here the way I'm thinking of, then I'll be just fine. So let's go ahead and get some of this cut out and get it on here. So what I want to do is cut it at about 4 inches long each side. This stuff is super sticky, so once it grabs a hold, it grabs. This is the face, and this is the back side that we peel away from the adhesive. So I'm just going to kind of peel it back like this a little bit and get it down here about the 1/4 inch where I want it, at about a 4-inch overlap. So now on these corners, I want to cut it at about 1.5 inches. Like that. And then right down the seam here. And fold that right down over the edge of the 2x4. Just like that. Then this, I'm going to bring up. And over the top. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. Just cut it up. Just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's getting another piece over it, wrap it down, and wrap it over. Now my next piece I just want to overlap and then wrap it around the back side of this 2x4. So now with it flipped over, I just want to go about 2 inches longer on each side. And the reason I want to make sure I get this is because weather will be able to get in here in a driving rain through this area. The rest of this will all get flashed down with the side of the house, so it'll all stay dry that way. Alright, we are ready to get this installed for the last time, secured and done. it up into place. I'm just going to run in one 4-inch decking screw to hold it in place. Do the same thing at the other end. Then I'll get it jacked in the middle and start putting the fasteners in. With that pushed up there where I need it, I just want to make sure that the door opens and closes properly and that there's no dragging. And there is a little dragging at that top corner, but there was before, so I'm pretty good with this. This bottom sweep is adjustable, so I can move that up a little if I need to. There's plenty of room here to do so, but it looks pretty good to me. I'm going to get it fastened. I'm going to be using 6-inch Fasten Master headlock screws. These are the 3/8 bolt equivalent to hold this rim joist in place. Now that I've got that one in, I want to pull my 4-inch bolt out, or my 4-inch screw out, because it is secure. I've already got my joist marked out, so I'm just going to put 2 in each joist. Alright, I'm going to keep going, hit all of these, and then this project will be done. My rim joist is all installed, but there is one last thing I need to do. I'm going to use these 4-inch GRK construction screws, and I'm going to re-secure the bottom plate of the wall to this new joist. And there's not a lot of room to do this here, but we'll get it. I'm going to finish this up, and then this project will be done. Alright guys, that's all we got for this time. This wasn't quite the tutorial that I would like it to have been. However, a tutorial like that would have taken, it would be a 3-hour video. So I tried to highlight the most important stuff, how to support it, how to jack it, how to remove the wood and put the new wood in. And there's no plans for it. It's just you have to think your way through it. How am I going to do this and how am I going to do that? And some of it's not super easy, just like this board that my hand's on right here. It's holding the side of the wall, so there's some support there, support underneath. You just have to think your way through this stuff. Join me next time when we put the foundation underneath of this thing. Remember to always respect the power of your power tools. We'll see you soon.